Welcome to Total Laminating Products how-to videos. This video will demonstrate the basic steps of how to insulate full-height basement walls with TLP foundation blankets. Before getting started, you will need to determine the height of your basement walls from the basement floor to the bottom of the floor joist. For 7-foot basements, you will need one 48-inch wide blanket and one 36-inch wide blanket. For 8-foot basements, you will need two 48-inch wide blankets. For more information on the R values and tools used, please contact your local building centers. To begin this project, start by unrolling the TLP foundation blanket with the metal strap down and insulation facing the wall. Lifting the blanket so that it is flush with the floor joist, attach the poly flap with 1/2 inch staples, allowing the blanket to hang. Do not fasten the metal strap at this time. In cases where the insulation runs parallel with the joist, use the powder actuated fastener to attach the top blanket every 4 or 5 feet with small pieces of metal strapping. Cutting up strips of extra insulation, place between the outer wall and first floor joist to fill in gaps. Carefully cutting around any obstructions, staple the poly to the bottom of the subfloor. This will be taped over later. Unroll the second TLP foundation blanket, again with the metal strap down and insulation facing the wall. Fasten the blanket to the wall with metal strapping every 4 to 5 feet. Be sure to keep the two blankets butted tightly together and avoid large overlaps so that there are no air spaces between them. Pull the metal strap of the upper TLP foundation blanket down firmly over the top of the lower blanket. Use your powder actuated fastener to fasten the metal strap every 2 feet. Attach the enclosed metal strap of the lower TLP foundation blanket to the bottom of the wall. In order to tighten corners and prevent air transfer, simply cut the metal strap 4 to 5 inches from the wall and attach loose metal strapping to the corner. This will be taped over later. In cases where the metal strap is bowing, cut the center of the strap, overlap the two ends, and fasten them together. Going back to the upper TLP foundation blanket, use the 16-inch poly flap provided at the top of each roll. Cut and place this poly flap into the header space. Staple the poly to the bottom of the subfloor and to each side of the floor joist. This provides a vapor barrier for the existing header plate insulation, which helps reduce airflow. In cases where floor joists are not accessible, fasten the blanket with strips of metal strapping. To insulate around windows, cut out the section of insulation in front of the window, being sure to leave a sufficient amount of insulation in order to cover the window sill. Fold the insulation over the window sill and fasten using metal strapping. Using extra pieces of insulation, fill in any gaps and be sure to thoroughly tape to prevent any airflow. Continue this process by tightly taping the polytarp to the window frame. To help complete the vapor barrier, tape along seams of the upper and lower blankets as well as any possible openings that would allow air transfer. With the full height TLP blanket properly installed, it conforms to Ontario Building Code and your entire basement will be insulated with a continuous vapor barrier with no thermal breaks starting from the bottom of the subfloor to the bottom of your basement wall.